4.1 Weather and climate. Weather is the state of the atmosphere with respect to wind, temperature, etc., and climate is the prevailing weather conditions of a region. Factors that affect climate include solar energy trapped in the biosphere and the transport of heat by wind and ocean currents. Greenhouse effect is when some gases trap sunlight energy in the atmosphere. Latitude and solar energy. In the equator, solar energy is more intense as the sun is almost directly overhead at noon all year. Heat transport in the biosphere is basically the unequal heating of Earth's surface. Winds and ocean currents transport heat throughout the biosphere. 4.2 Niches and community interactions. A niche is the full range of physical and biological conditions in which an organism lives. Need to have the ability to survive and reproduce under certain circumstances. With this, it helps determine the habitat. Competition. Organisms compete for resources, can occur both members of the same species or between different species by causing species to divide resources. Helps determine the number and kinds of species in a community. Predation and herbivory. All the organisms need to feed from something. With this comes the predator-prey relationship and the herbivore-plant relationship. Keystone species. These organisms can be a major factor in which can cause changes in the population and in the community. Symbiosis. Biology recognizes the main classes of symbiotic relationship in nature: mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism. Mutualism. Both species are benefited. Parasitism. One organism harms the other in order to obtain something. And finally, commensalism, in which one organism benefits and the other is not harmed nor helped. (4.3) Succession. Ecological succession. Series of changes in a community following a destruction. Primary succession. Are those successions that begin where there wasn't any community before. Secondary succession starts after the primary succession. Succession occurs because organisms change the environment. Sometimes this can be helpful for certain organisms. Sometimes after a natural disturbance often reproduces the original climax. Only if secondary succession is on a healthy ecosystem. Ecosystems have the probability to not recover from the natural disturbances that human produces. 4.4 Biomes. Biomes are described by abiotic and biotic factors like climate, soil type, plant, and animal life respectively. Each biome is associated with seasonal patterns of temperature and precipitation. The major biomes are tropical rainforest that has a hot and wet year and has understory plants. Tropical dry forest is warm year-round with dry seasons. Tropical grassland is warm with seasonal rainfall. Many animals migrate during dry seasons. Desert has variable temperature. Temperate grassland is warm to hot on summers and has cold winters. Temperate woodland and shrubland has hot dry summers. Animals in this biome adapted to drought. Temperate forest has deciduous trees. Northwestern conifer forest. In this biome, camouflage helps insects and mammals to avoid predations. Boreal forest has long cold winters. Tundra has strong winds and low precipitation. Many land areas are not classified as biomes because they are not easily defined of typical community of plants and animals such as mountain ranges and polar ice caps. 4.5 Aquatic ecosystems. These organisms are affected by water depth, temperature, flow, and the amount of dissolved nutrients. Water depth influences aquatic life because of the sunlight penetrating the water. This is where someone can find photic and photic zones. Freshwater ecosystems are divided in rivers and streams, lakes and ponds, and freshwater wetlands. A wetland is an ecosystem in which water covers the soil or is near the surface. Estuaries are very important because serve as spawning and nursery grounds for many important fish and shellfish. Marine ecosystems. Ecologists divide the ocean in three areas: the intertidal zone, coastal ocean, and finally, the open ocean.